hard to get this clean because I bought a new OtterBox case for it, and the OtterBox I had before I actually cut out around the lens so I could hi Kobe, hi Jason and Joey, good to have you guys with me here in the workshop. Michael Wesson, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. Brandon Sayer, nice to have you with me. So Rob Strutt, Howard D. So I don't know if you guys caught it, I did an Instagram picture, which is not my favorite thing to do. It said I got dust and I got dusted. Early Beastie Boys were pretty big impact on me. I had a tape recording on cassette of them. A lot of my music was just pirated tape recorded cassettes when I was a kid. I lived kind of under a rock. But I wanted to share a moment in the workshop with you guys because I don't have any better idea of how to include you all in what I do. Just gonna do a little walk around. I see Motham on here. Just finished some Gordons up. The Gordon is a South Austin Curb Service collab. That's a crew collab with the South Austin Curb Service crew out in Austin, Texas. And that's a Midwest blue collar joint. So Fickle does collaboratives with crews and people we believe in, and one of our favorites is South Austin Curb Service. So we make a deck for them. Look behind me, there are my two personal riders back there. The one, the Skin Cat, is a Gordon prototype. I haven't ridden a Gordon yet. It is basically, thanks Marky, Eric Haynes, good to see you. Jeff Interbitson, good to see you on your brother. So I've got the Gordon shape with a Fickle graphic on it that I'm taking out to ride. I've got 149 trucks on it. It'll take 159s or even 169s. I like a narrower truck on a wider board. I like what that does. It jigs around and gets giggity. And remember that Halloween board? We only did 13 of those. And then my other one is a ditch dagger. Now this is a soft nose ditch dagger. I pulled it out from when I made those soft noses way back in the day. And I love it. Now those are my present personal riders. And I don't really put a lot of terrible use into my personal riders. I've got two retired ones here. This one is an 875 bullnose that I rode for, I don't know, I rode it for 1 or 2 sessions. And I just wanted to get back in touch with the bullnose shape and concave. And funny thing, I did tail slides on this. I didn't use any risers. I used smaller wheels, and I was doing more flip tricks. I felt like, and I wore army pants, just like I did when I was a kid. I wore army pants and rode this board just like when I was a kid. Oh, Michael Weston, I make the classic shape all the time. Yeah, I mean that's a stock shape, buddy. You can get the classic anytime you want. So there's my 875 I rode, and here is a board that I made one of these recently for a customer. This is basically a 10-inch panhead, and I ride this with 159s, Indy 159s, and I rode this. So all the customs on the website, when you want a custom, you can now click on Kookwood, and for the customs, you're dealing with Kookwood Creations. That's my personal custom moniker. And this one here is ginormous with a huge tail. It's got 7.75 tail and 7.65 nose. And really loved riding this board. And it doesn't even have any pressure cracking in it. And I rode it for quite a while. But so that one was fun. I've still got, here's a sweaty shirt. I've still got this long knucklehead I profiled that 2 videos ago or so. I've got this long knucklehead still in the stacks, ready to go. This is the shape that Team Fat gets. This pig. The pig is a really cool shape. That's Team Fat pig. That's another crew collab I do, and that's a 10 inches plus pig deck. Super fun. Floyd Howard Pruitt. So we've got a stack of lumber here, getting finished up in graphics today. And a box full of these are going straight out to Hop, House of Pawn. House of Pawn is the only skate shop that we are presently doing any business with, because our boards fly out of Bradenton, Florida. And I'm so blessed to know Floyd Howard Pruitt, and so I'm really grateful to have met him and spent time with him. He's a good dude. Here's one of my personal riders from some time ago, and this is a standard sharp-nosed ditch dagger. I love Minor Threat, and one thing I love about the ditch dagger is the tail profile on it. It's got a, can I flip you guys around? I'm going to show you. The paint job really sets it off. They have a pintail on them, just a little bit of a pintail, and the one I made most recently, a personal rider, you can see the pintail on that, and this is the one I did those cut-ins on, and it wound up, it didn't translate very well, so I'm going to wind up, oh my gosh, I'm being punished by my phone. The cut-in I did was so mild that it really didn't come through in sanding, so I'm going to end up re-describing this tail a little narrower. When that one's done, it'll be a good personal. Then things I'm happy about: the new coffee maker. It is not large, but it is good. And I'm happy about my Dagner pipe, and I'm glad to be out of the blouse. The blouse over here is what I wear when I'm doing lots of chip work, because it's about 80 degrees in this workshop right here. The air in this workshop all comes through the hole in the wall over there and pulls. Well, I've got two air-controlled areas that are pulling air in here from the other side. So I've got 2 inputs, 1 output down in the bottom, and with the use of a few fans, all the dust goes straight to the back corner and either settles on the floor or goes down the hole. So it's a nice morning here in the workshop. I thought I'd just check in with all of you today and give you a picture of what's happening and some of my personal riders. Both Team Fat and South Austin Curb Service are on the site, ready to click for pre-orders. Those are coming out, I think, by mid-July. Those should be shipping, and we appreciate all your patience. And I think that covers everything I want to talk about. This is some wood from my personal store. I've got a lot of wood over at the old workshop that's just been sitting in condition, and I brought those in here to season to this room, and then I'll bring them to the other room to season again, and I'll be bringing over more and more wood from there. I've got 100 and some odd boards worth of wood in the other room, and yeah, so that's some of what's going on. My head's a little bit muddy. I usually don't do these. Well, okay, so Chris Gurley, my head's a little muddy today. I didn't get super stoked up for this video. This is just what's on the table and what am I doing. So I don't have any real big ideas. Just want to let you guys know what's going on here in the workshop and say hi to everybody, and I miss you all. It's nice to be making skateboards. I'm glad that the dust is moving that way and not this way. And 10 fingers, 10 toes, both eyeballs, and protect your hearing. So there we go. Oh, look at you guys are talking to each other. Edward Pigeon, good to have you with me here, with us all. Well, had a nice visit at the workshop. Folks are coming by the workshop more often now. I like it. It's a lot less lonely, and I welcome your visits to the workshop. It has been a long road and a lonely road to get to this point. I'm not complaining because it's a joy and an honor to make skateboards for people I care about. I do care about all of you. It's really nice, but it has been at sometimes quite a harrowing and zany experience. It's also nice that in a time when skateboarding has been on a real decline, you do know that, right, guys? There's an epic downturn in skateboarding. The volume of skateboard practitioners and the volume of skateboard sales, just industry-wide, has been dropping over the last, I don't know, 8 years. 2010, there was a huge precipitous drop in conjunction with the Bernie Madoff and subprime real estate dip. Americans just really stopped buying a lot of items. Hang on, I need to get rid of this fan. I don't have the best hearing. I haven't been that good to myself in regard to hearing. So having mid-range noise really shuts me down. But you guys know that there's been a pretty massive downturn in the overall volume of skateboards, even though skateboards are still the raddest thing going. We've had a continuing decline in the number of skateboarders, which is something that is, that's okay if, one moment, I gotta re-up on Joe here. It's my wallet in my hand. I can't sit on my wallet because my wallet is, it contains my D. Kistner knife. It's really thick, and so it comes out of my pocket. I take the back pocket empty so my hips don't get dysplasia like a poor German Shepherd. So the skateboarding industry took a pretty major downturn in 2010. Now it's 2018, and we've really seen it cycle through. And we've seen the loss of the local skate shop as an institution of community, and by 2010, I was already decrying the quality drift in skateboarding. And Eric Sanders, Howard, thanks for your comments. And I became really controversial here in Cincinnati, where it's not something folks are used to for someone to critique industry or offer contrast of ideas on well-established practices. But I identified really early on in 2004, 5, 6, and 7 that there's no way that skateboarding can be as good as it can be if we continue to have the kind of business practices that we've had. The 1990s saw the wholesale selling of our production to other countries. And there are a lot of arguments that can be made that that's not a patently 100% bad thing. But it was. Marketing was focused around legitimizing low-quality laminate and flat, soulless concave and like that. And just like how they marketed that thin, vulcanized shoes are better the solid supportive shoes that we used to rip in, and I'm not mad and curmudgeonly about it. That's just the texture of how it was. So in 2008, when I'd already worked from 2005 through 2008 on and off with a skateboard brand, and in 2008 I decided to source a brand with a friend of mine out of Wood in Pennsylvania that had two reputations. The wood was really thick and strong, so it was stout, and the second reputation was you're never going to get your orders, never going to get them on time, never going to get them the quantity that you ordered them. So I knew coming into being a brand that you're going to have trouble with the basics of being a brand. But I had to get started somewhere, so I had a two-pronged approach. I said, well, all right, well, we'll order this high-quality wood, and we'll brand on our manufacturer being a high-quality manufacturer, and that was good, but we'll also build our own presses and see if we can offer like just a line of product that is homegrown, authentically made by us. And I thought we'd start with some cruiser boards and some stuff that wasn't, because I knew it was going to be rough. When I say we, I really mean me and a guy named Matt Simpson, who's out in California now. And Matt and I pretty much knew that we weren't going to be good at making boards, but we knew that it would be an offering to authenticity and maybe a little bit of a return to the heart of skateboarding being in the wood. And so between 2008 and 2010, it got pretty depressing. We were really a good Lenny Pogue. I just stamped your board, and your batch is up and it's coming out. Oh wait, Lenny, you ordered a Panhead 8.5. So yeah, your board is in this batch here. To the folks who've ordered a Gordon, those are pre-order. It didn't make it onto the site that was pre-order. So some of you guys have a pre-order with us that's going to come out in July, and it'll be shipping. You will get a ship notification. Back to what I was saying. So in 2008 and 9 and end of 10, I built my press. I designed it through 2009 and 10. Came out with my first wood late 10, 11, and it was pretty rough. I didn't have this old beast. I didn't have this thing at the time, and that is really the secret to a good rounded edge. Is you got to have an inflatable drum sander, and the Grizzly version for about $300. You're gonna have to be pretty finesseful to get a real good edge on that. And when I first came out, my edges were done with palm-held disc sanders, and they were rough. And I felt back then, I felt really happy. I felt really happy, and I felt really. When I say I felt proud, I don't intend to communicate that I'm arrogant. Recently had a good friend tell me that I'm an arrogant person, and it really hurt my feelings because I've always prided myself on how humble I am. Sorry. Anyway, so but our original equipment manufacturer told me that the first deck I press will be the end of my relationship with the factory. And it really held me back for a while, but I wound up having to bite the bullet and say, well, you know what, we're going to have to do this. And kind of happily, the quality that we were getting, testing samples from across the board, they really weren't really so great. They weren't, the quality wasn't so great that I thought, if I made boards with rough edges that were really good laminate, that were in the press long enough and were stout, that at least there's probably a market for people who wanted stout, strong wood that was rough hewn and cool. I'll tell you who's cool is Leftover Skate Hermit is cool. Can I just tell you? Instagram at Leftover Skate Hermit. He's cool. He's a shaper, and Leftover Skate Hermit is like one of my favorite shapers. There's Pete's Pigs and Leftover Skate Hermit. And these guys are just the coolest people, and I wish that they were watching. I hope that they do, because I'd like to tell Pete and Leftover that I think the world of you guys, and anytime you want, if you can get me out there and put me up and feed me, I'll ride my motorcycle to you, and I will spend a week with you teaching you how to make boards if you can cover like just my expenses, because like I wish I could just do it. I'm not rich. This is a very strong operation, but it's not a rich operation. We've never taken investment capital beyond some very small help, which we really appreciate from some of you guys who know who you are. I've had 2 gifts that came to me that I call investments and are on the books in our personal. I mean, we're not allowed to do investments in ROI. That's actually illegal to do ROI investment as a small business this way. It turns out like you can't just do that. There's a lot of contract law. But we've had 2 people come in and really contribute to the purchase of tools and the development of our new website and things like that that have really helped. And it's very humbling that I could never have done what I'm doing without help from my friends. It's an inheritance why I was able to build my first workshop. I really never had much to speak of in terms of capital, and I started this whole thing right before the big subprime downturn, and we really haven't come back strongly from the subprime downturn, like in skate. The number of skateboarders nationwide can't support the retail shops. They're closing. The industry is reorganizing again and again, and it's all reorganizing along a common thread. The thread is that the distributors are being purchased by each other, so they're consolidating, and then the distributors are actually buying the brands, and the brands belonging to the distros. That's a significant shift in market model. I'm not saying it's a bad shift either way, but it's a major change in the way that the market works. So from the top down, you're seeing consolidation this way and that way, and then you're seeing, so that's a centralization from the top down. And then you're seeing something else happen, which is in the middle of all this shrinking and consolidating, you're seeing the Frank Purcellis of American Waste skateboards. You're seeing the Frank Gardners, basically all guys named Frank, who are making terrific skateboards. Frank Gardner at Texican, cannot say enough about these 2 men's work. And also you've got Sam Cook has an amazing workshop. He's one of the many who are sort of waiting for a shift to come so that we can really do this. We would like to supply huge numbers of skateboards to the world, and we would like to. Eric Sanders, I did see your text this morning. I did know about that distribution issue, and have been, yeah. But from the bottom up, we're seeing, so the centralizing is happening at the top of our market. And at the bottom of our market, you're seeing the Franks coming. You know, your Frank Purcellis, your Frank Gardners, your Frank Sam Cooks, your Frank Lou Ross. You're seeing all of these smaller guys. Steve Coy, he's a great deck maker in Lexington, Kentucky area. Jeremy Ferris of Swamp Trog Skateboards. These are amazing people who make great skateboards, and there are more. I mean, I really ought to keep like a roster on a piece of veneer here, because these people are in my mind, because more and more skateboarders are discovering that even though there are lead times, you know, getting a board that is fresh pressed in the room next door and cut right from this after you order it. And then your purchase, you're not a customer to these people at the bottom. These independent board makers, you're not a customer to them. You are a skateboarder. And all the people I mentioned, you put us all in the room, and no matter what we disagree on, one thing we all agree on is that the people buying our boards are not customers to us. The people who buy these skateboards are skateboarders. And we have some black with green pocketed skull fickle front with Hernando skates back. Yeah, Edward, I can make those. Anything to support Hernando skates. Edward, direct message me about that, either through text or through Facebook Messenger, and let's get those shirts running. Yeah, I can make black pocket T-shirts with a green skull on the front and Hernando skates on the back all day for you guys. Heck yeah. Let's get that rolling. Hernando skates, if you guys don't know, Hernando, Mississippi has been a home away for me, and there's a town that puts all other cities to shame because they're not, what do you say, they're not the kind of town that you would expect to be like building an amazing skate park for their kids, and they're doing it, and they're moving on to phase 2, and they brought in the evergreen skate parks tends to bring crews that are like using sacred geometry and just building parks that are so jamming. Their crew at any given time has got someone into sacred geometry and a Samoan and a whole bunch of really cool people. It was such an honor and a blessing to ride my bike out there, to meet with them for food and to spend time just enjoying the soul of skateboarding. Very, 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 very helpful. Thank you, Edward. Yes, let's talk. We want to get that running for you ASAP. I like making shirts. As long as everybody understands that a Fickle or a Midwest Blue Collar shirt is not a professional shirt maker shirt. It's made in a skateboard workshop, so if the ink of your shirt has sawdust in it, that's a good thing. And if there's a dust mark on the corner because I just finished sanding boards and then went and folded a bunch of them, that's a good thing. That's we just brand on it. And yes, Area 51 ice cream in Hernando, Mississippi. But revenons à nos moutons. Let's get back to what I was saying about the market, because when you look at the reason that skateboarders should be interested in our market vision is because our market exists to serve our community. And when we can get the market moved into the right position, that is when you have ethical, conscientious market players. These market players fulfill a role of building and supporting our community with good value products, both good, better, and best. You know, you've got discount, regular, and premium quality products coming out, and also with inspiration, where brands that aren't just a quick cash grab on a graphic series that may be not so good for the long term. You know, I'm not afraid to say it. There's stuff we can market on that I think is really great. I've got behind you guys right now. Yesterday I showed you what I have all the time in front of me when I'm talking to you. I've got Brother Jay up on the wall in a pool right behind you guys every time I'm talking. And that reminds me of what a good market player, because I am in the market, what a good market player really needs to be about. Skateboarding. The weightless, amazing fun of being on that skateboard. So when we talk about market, the reason it's fascinating and interesting is because we can reorient this market to really stoke skateboarding. And we've talked about how I believe that it is because of our market players deciding that women weren't worth it to market to. You can watch Amelia Brodka's documentary, Underexposed, Women in Skateboarding, and you can see how, I believe it's Chet Thomas from Darkstar just comes right out, Dwindle, just says, you know, one of the largest distros in the business says, We don't market to women because there's no money in women's skateboarding. And that was such a shocking statement to me, because that's dumb. 50% of the, you've got an industry that's not willing to market to 50% of the population because they can't envision skateboarding being for 50% of the population. Then you've got some notable pros. I mean, serious contest winners literally coming out and saying that they don't think that skateboarding is for girls. I think that they forgot what I look at all day, which is being weightless up on a wall. Every single person can carve a bowl. Every single person can bomb a hill. Every single person can run cones. Every single person is able to ride skateboards and have fun with it. I taught someone how to ollie in the side alley the other day in cowboy boots, and it was such a liberating moment for me, because there's so much marketing that's been grinding into us, this conformity of why aren't you wearing skate shoes, and why aren't you dressing in skate fashion, and all this stuff, and it's been decades and decades of it. And now our market is destroyed, and these up at the top of the market, the distros are buying each other, and that's fine. And the distros are buying brands. Brands now belong directly to distributions, and that's fine, because at the bottom you've got the Franks, you got the Frank Porcellis, and you've got the Frank Gardners, and you've got the Steve Coy, Frank Steve Coy, and the Frank Jeremy Ferris, and you've got the Frank Sam Cook and the Frank Lou Rosses, and they're all at the bottom, and we're all down here, and we're waiting for skateboarders to discover our work, and we're waiting for skateboarders to understand the value of, yes, you're going to order your board, and yes, when your board order comes in, it's a cured flat like this. It's a cured square, and these squares, uncuts, are fresh pressed by these operations, and they're made in small batches, and that's a good thing. And the other day we were looking at our business prospectus. We were looking at the numbers, and we were like, geez, we really need to grow. You can't stay small forever, because you have to grow. We want to build a studio that we can use for lighting and sound. We have a yes, cannibalizing is the top here is cannibalizing. It's true. I'm going to turn off that compressor real quick. There we go. Yes, the top of the industry, where the magnates sit, is cannibalizing, and it's all on a very strong ethic of low quality, high volume. But among those people are some hearts of gold. None of them are terribly interested in the Franks down here at the bottom. They're not. But these hearts of gold up there, they wish that they could return to 1978, which is where we are. We're in 1978 down here, where back when skateboarding was, I'm looking at it right now. You guys know what's right behind you. Just for reference, I've got a big poster of Jay Adams up on the wall in a bowl, and he's skating on an oak plank deck. Evidently, it's a wedge tail, and it's about 6.5 inches wide. And I look at it all the time when you guys are right here, and I am inviting skateboarding to come back to 1978. I'm inviting you guys to hit me up for a custom make. I see a major blockage down here, and it's that, one time I sent some boards to Low Card. It was 2011, maybe 2012. I sent some boards to Low Card for them to try. I think I sent 3 boards, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to put my work in someone else's hands and let them talk about it. And I was thinking about it today when I was doing these boards, and I thought, and Low Card did a thing on us, and it was just a little blip. And I felt disappointed, because we're more interesting than a little blip. The Franks down here, this at the bottom is, and this morning I was loading up my truck to come over. In the morning I do the inside work, and then I come out and load up the truck with whatever I want to bring over. And I was loading some veneer in my truck to come over here, and these words came out of my mouth. I said, "Duty now for the future," and and I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about all the Juice magazine articles that I've read that are like, you know, one industry insider interviewing another industry insider and having this insider talk. And I've read a lot of things, and I'm supposed to like it, you know, or something wrong with me. And J.M. Hammond says we need an independent board makers association. We have the makers movement as a group, and I've been trying to make an association, but it turns out that the administrative work of bringing people together is not only time intensive and attention intensive. Because of time and attention, it's expensive. And I am considering crowdsourcing some goals, but in order to crowdsource something, I have to give you guys a real tangible goal of what I'm going to do. And to organize that mission takes a lot more attention and time than just sitting there and thinking, oh, it's always my dream to do this, I'm going to do it. It's not a Disney dream. You know, I've got to have my ducks in a row before I launch something, because when I launch something, it's going to go for 10 years, and if you launch it in the wrong direction, you can have a tiger by the tail. So I started the Makers Movement, just got people sharing with each other what's going on, and everybody's welcome to look at what's happening. But you have to be a maker, you have to prove that you're making skateboards in order to be a part of the Makers Movement. And that definition of maker, actually, you can't be an OEM. You can't be an original equipment manufacturer, middleman operation to be a member of the Makers Movement. Now, some people are grandfathered in there right now, and I really am not interested in tough conversations with people. But if you're a board maker and you think, oh yeah, that's where we are here, but you've got clients that you're making boards for that aren't you, right? I'm talking about the direct-to-customer relationship of a workshop and a maker, soul-to-soul, with skateboarders. This soul-to-soul, one-to-one relationship, that is what I want to see spread. Everybody tells me, I had a pro, a long-time famous pro, maybe the fourth most famous pro in America. He called me on the phone. He said, Lou, I want to tell you a secret to board making. And I said, okay. He said, this was taught to me by the most famous board maker alive today. Back when I was making boards for my personal brand, we were running cars over our boards and showing how strong they were. This is a real story. This actually happened to me, and I'm going to tell this story again. Maybe I can get them to tell the story. So this really famous board maker came up to me and he told me the secret. He said, the secret to board making is to make a board that won't last too long. The crucial secret is to make a board that lasts 2 to 3 weeks and then fails. It's critical because we have to keep the boards breaking in order to keep our factories at the high numbers that we need them. Making stout skateboards that really last is not a goal of the industry. That was told to me bald-faced with sincerity and kindness from people who really know what's up here in the industry, what I've been describing at the top levels. Down here where we're percolating up, we really don't like that. Because see, we don't see you as a customer, we see you as a skateboarder. And so I've wanted to shift gears from being a direct-to-customer business to being a builder of workshops nationwide. I really want to shift gears, and we started playing around with some concepts with that. I went up to Indiana and I'm building a workshop up there, but I'm doing it as a bro, as a friend, because these craftsmen and craft women, there are men and women involved in this. These people are not, they're not contract law sharks, and they're not seasoned in business. They're heartful people who want to make a difference and want to make something beautiful, and they want to be part of contributing value to our community. But they're not, and that's good. We want our industry to we want there to be both. We need these multi-million-dollar, foreign-sourced kind of like these are the guys that are providing you shop boards at your shop that they really don't have as their primary mission to treat skateboarders in a way that's not as a customer. These think of you guys as customers. We want these guys down at the bottom who view you as skateboarders to come up and to be discovered. And we don't want your support. By the way, this is a difference. These brands up here, they want your support. They're the ones behind the support your local movement. And down here, we're just begging you to let us support you with our work. It's a whole different mindset, a whole different ethic. We're begging you, let us support you with the very best board we can make. And when something isn't right, let us support you with the very best support we can give you to make it right. Whether it's a replacement deck, a discount on a replacement, or just giving you your money back, you're talking directly to the person who made your board. And that's me and the Franks. I know there's another Frank involved, because I wouldn't have called this group down here the Franks if there wasn't a third Frank. I don't do that without three at least. But you know, there are a lot of small brands out there that are looking for something to set their product apart, looking for something to set their brand apart. I think making your own stuff is the way to go. And you know, if I could, I'd take out a full page in Thrasher. I really would. I'd take out a full page in Thrasher magazine. I would, absolutely. I'd take out a full page in Thrasher, and it would feature this little room of tools. And I wouldn't have, I mean, my friends might call me arrogant, and I get it. It's hard to understand. But I wouldn't be ashamed to stand up here and represent craft-made skateboards and the craft movement. I wouldn't be ashamed to represent it at all, as long as I could put along the bottom all the Franks. Frank Briselli, Frank Gardner, Sam Cook. You know, Eric Sanders is building a mold down in Arab, Alabama. You've got shapers right now who both who do and do not want to press their own stuff. And the shapers are like one step outside. You've got the shapers who are making really cool stuff. You know who's a cool shaper is Leftover Skate Hermit and Pete's Pigs. And these guys are they're crafting original shapes on wood that they're getting from presses of, I don't know who's pressing their stuff, but more power to them. You know, something I will warn you about, you might be watching this and you might be a board manufacturer who doesn't actually manufacture your stuff. You might be a board brand who claims to screen your own stuff, but you don't screen it. Maybe you screened one series and then you pretended you screened the rest of them because, you know, and oh, Mike Villalobos. I mean, Mike at Outcast. Well, he's my homie and my brother. And Mike sent me from his first pressing this beautiful. He sent me this beautiful deck from Outcast Skates, and this thing is dope. And it's got that like less than perfectly round edge on it, and I love every bit of it. And I treasure this gift. But he didn't just send me that. There's a video of him running this one over with a truck, and this one this one was run over twice, and good stout strong lumber that, you know what, it's not heavy. And Mike Villalobos out in Arizona. Tim Reynolds. The guys tell us who more. Tim Reynolds is pressing his own stuff. And I got to tell you, like, I like these people. I like these people a lot. And I hope that I can do more to help people discover the being assertive can be mistaken for arrogance, dude. It's okay, carry on. You know, when Edward Pigeon comes on your feed and encourages you to be assertive, you just buck up. And well, all right, you guys, so this has been my mind and my heart for a little while. I'm glad that I finally got into something that I could talk to you about. But to summarize, the industry is cannibalizing itself. My last 2 shipments of independent trucks have been definitely different from 2 years ago when parts of them were made in the USA. They've lost control over the quality of the trucks. The basic design is still, I think, excellent. And I'm not going to abandon independent trucks. I have to tell you, there are a lot of things I like about Ace trucks. I have considered Ace trucks very, very carefully. I'm also hearing good things about Atlas trucks and a couple other truck brands. I am not completely averse to tracker trucks, and have been considering shifting my completes program to, but all of these brands and distros, like right now, there's a rumor that got started on Slap. I don't know what to say. Slap has been extremely interesting lately. I mean, it seems to be a form of journalism in skate that is really shaking things up. And Slap is talking about distros buying each other even more. Some of it quite earth-shaking. And boy, I appreciate the comments that are scrolling on this. A lot can be said on a lot of these points you guys are making. But this is cannibalizing up here. These guys down here, like me, we're just hoping that more people will give us a chance to support them. And we're just hoping, you know, I can make 225 boards a month if I'm not focused on other things. I could make even more than that if I really weren't focused on other things. This month I'll probably make, I don't know, probably make 100 boards this month. I've been running between, my lowest months have been like, geez, in May, we had very low numbers across the industry. In fact, in May, we saw a major board maker just give up. A major board maker just threw in the towel, did a whole Instagram and Facebook, I'm out, I'm done, nobody supports this thing. And Lenny Pogue just mentioned trucks. When will we have an old sand mold cast truck again in America? Honestly, I would pay $85 for a set of sand mold trucks out of an operation that ran like young Ermico. I would pay $85 for a set. I paid $90 for a set of trucks that were made here in America that were billeted. I paid $90 for them. They asked me for my feedback, and I gave them my feedback. I had some very pointed feedback for them, and they never seemed interested in hearing from me again. I was very kind, but I could tell. I told them they need to make copers for these trucks. They were so good turning, but they needed better clearance on the kingpin for wider applications. The trucks were strong. And they also needed to be using red thread locker on some of their stuff. They had replaceable hangers, and they needed to thread lock that. And actually, their truck design ruined my Father's Day 2 years ago. I was very disappointed that their truck design, the screws backed out and wrecked my Father's Day. It sucked. Could have happened any day, but happened on Father's Day. I'd been skating them for a while. And so I gave them some feedback, and truth be told, there is no investment money going to the best ideas in skateboarding. And if I may be so bold, I think that this is one of the very best ideas in skateboarding ever. High quality, high attention, direct to customer, service and servanthood is like the best thing going for skateboarding right now, to reclaim the soul of our art and the soul of our community. And yeah, there are people folding left and right. And many brands are not folding. What they're doing is getting bought by the bigger money. That's cannibalistic. And so they lose control over. They lose control. I mean, I can think of one of the absolutely most epic names in skateboarding. That brand is owned by a distribution. And the owner of that brand, the guy, the pillar of that brand, you know, give me a call, dude. Because we can make a Midwest blue collar collab with that brand, and we can do something that people are truly inspired by, that holds them up for session after session after session. Big fat old dudes and all kinds of ladies and all kinds of people just ripping and shredding for longer than they've ever shredded before on a board that feels better than anything they've been on before. That one behind me right there, that's a Team Fat Pig. And Team Fat is a crew collab that I do with Steve-O Collins. That's a Midwest blue collar. That's me with Steve-O. And instead of Steve-O having to fork out a whole bunch of money on the front end, Team Fat is selling off my website straight to customer on behalf of Steve-O. And so the new release of Team Fat is on the website for Steve-O Collins. He's out of the Welfare Line Skateboard Collectors Group. And Steve-O, by the way, Steve-O, aka Reverend Fattius, is one of the best minds in skateboarding today, one of the best voices in skateboarding today that is available for you to enjoy. Steve-O Collins, if you guys don't know who he is, follow him up. And I know you might not be in the Welfare Line. It is an exclusive group. It is not an open group, but some of the best thinkers, feelers, and best intentions put to the best thought are found in groups like this. You know, skateboarding is graduating beyond being an elitist boys club, and it's coming back to the kids. Every kid, every kind of kid who wants to ride on their butt, you know, and I'm spending more of my time with kids and big kids being kids on skateboards. And I love that I had a session in cowboy boots the other day in my side alley. And I want you all to enjoy skateboarding fresh and new like you were little again. And your hips hurt and your knees hurt and you got injuries. You know, I got a friend right now with a bum knee, and he is a ripper, and these rippers, they go through a crisis when they get limited, you know, because they can't self-actualize and achieve anymore. And it's like the joy of rolling is what it must be all about, that same joy you had when you first learned to carve down a hill. And I love you guys. And Eric Sanders talking about solid wood boards out of New York, husband-wife team, Ren would know them. Guys, listen, I want to get to work building more workshops, and I want to get to work making this down here come up. I don't know what to crowdsource. I don't know. I know what I spend my money on when I have money. I spend my money on, you know, I put my money where my mouth is. I took one of my own presses and put it in Indiana 3 weeks ago because I believe in this mission. And, oh, Rumble Skateboards. That's right. I love those guys. Alyssa Duvall and Jake Rumble. I love those guys. The Frank Revolution. Let's be frank. Hey, you know who we need to build a press for? Frank Gerwer. You know, it's not like my phone is ringing off the hook with Heartful Industry Insiders because of talking to you guys like this. Do you realize that this makes me highly controversial? It puts a big pill in the throat of a lot of people because I knew in the 90s that it was not good that we didn't make boards in America anymore. I knew from the density and the laminate quality, the stiffness and density of the boards, that skateboarding had turned to shit. I knew it in the 90s. And then I saw the bullies rise up. And I was starting a family, so I wasn't in it. But when my kids got old enough, I was back in the scene. And I happened to come back in the scene in Cincinnati. And my friends, I'll write a book one day. And it will not be a book that holds back. A lot of what's happened here in Cincinnati around me and the contrast I cause is a matter of public record, legal public record. I am not constrained to speak openly about the people and things that have been done to stop craft board making and to stop me from feeling free to exist in skateboarding here. But that book is some years ahead of me. I've got to spend my cartilage and my time and my treasure getting this going. I'm a big believer in what I'm doing. And Yes, an existential conflict. That is, I've had 3 people in the scene here in Cincinnati. 3 people involved in the scene here, very deep involvement, come to me independently and tell me that, Lou Ross, you have a huge problem. You have to figure out how to get these people to stop hating you, or they're going to destroy you. One of them said they'll probably kill you. I don't like that. I said, what do you see that I can do? And they said, there's nothing you can do. Well, 3 people, reasonable people, coming and saying, you have to do something, and then saying, I don't know what you can do. That's quite a thing to live in. And I've not just lived in it, I've lived through it. I'm on the other side of a lot of it. It's had a good effect on my heart. It's seasoned me with intention. It's seasoned me with the willingness to keep going, even when it means the minute you leave your door and the minute you come into your workshop, that you don't know what, might walk through that door today, That's why, you know what, guys? I'm not alone today. We got old Rocco. You see him? He's sleeping in the front of the shop right now. Let's walk around and visit with Rocco for a minute. I think that would lighten me up nicely, because we just took that left turn in Albuquerque, telling you about some of the real texture of what's going on. But let's check out what my homie Rocco is up to. So today we moved his bed in here. His bed is a sleeping bag, and his water dish is right here. And Rocco is it's sort of dusty, isn't it, buddy? Watch, if I scratch him right here, he licks. Are you gonna lick? You know you're in a good... There it is. There it is. Do it again, Rock. Do the licks. Do that. There it is. There's the lick. You know he likes what you're doing when he's licking. This dog is a major time suck, because once you start petting him, he just goes seal puppy on you. He just goes seal puppy on you, My son bought a female dog. Her name is Annie. She just got spayed. Petting a male dog is tricky because they have this wiener on their belly. But a female dog, you can pet all 10 nipples. You can go 10 nipples you can only go 6 nipples on a male dog. You gotta cut to the leg, massage the leg. That's the thing about Rocco, is he is not a high-strung animal, is he, guys? That is not a high-strung doggo. Not at all. Rocco he's over 8 years old now. And he's been with me for 7 years. He's been my dog. He was a bait dog in the hood before that, and he's gotten more scars with Annie than he has before that. You gonna get up and walk around, buddy? So it was nice to dip over to Rocco and get some mental health. That really helped. Well, friends, I'm gonna brew a second pot, and I'm gonna get to work making some more of these beauties. Right now, I've got another stack of boards going out to Bradenton, Florida, early next week. And early next week, everyone who has ordered anything that is not South Austin Curb Service will be shipping out early next week as well. And so a box for Bradenton and everything but South Austin Curb Service. If you order a Team Fat, if you order a South Austin Curb Service, those decks are going to be made straight to order, fresh and crisp, and go out to you in real time. So if you've got an order in, it's about to clear. If you've got a South Austin, or if you've got a Team Fat, those are going to clear in July. I care deeply about getting those done very swiftly, but the process on the graphics has to be perfect and right before we're going to do it, and your graphics are still going to be filled with inclusions and texture from the imperfections of the process, because I am not a graphics company. And I think that there are other makers. I want to tell you this: if you want good graphics, David Waddell out of, he's in Australia, and David Waddell at Dangerous Skateboards, big shout out. That guy makes beautiful graphics. Second beautiful graphic mentioned, big shout out to Frank Gardner of Texican Skateboards. Frank Gardner's graphics are second to none. Frank is a major executor on great graphics. I love the art direction of American Waste. American Waste is in a bit of a hiatus right now. And then my other favorite is right now, who's doing really good, two brands that are doing lino cuts. Lino cuts are when you cut linoleum into and you do a stamp with it. Life Skateboards is doing a lino cut graphic, and you know who's been doing them forever from their beginning is Leftover Skate Hermit. And I just love Leftovers lino cut graphics. Paint job, lino cuts, every board is unique. Come on, how cool is that? My mind is blown every day by these guys, and they're all in my heart. So let me leave you with my best intentions, and let me beg your pardon for the ways in which I may fail, and let me say that I like you more than a friend. You are. I like you more than a friend. I'll see you, friends.